Hello, everybody. This is Pete from PA Labs. And believe it or not, after I don't know how long, I am actually doing an update on the WarGame, getting rid of some commented code. I've been battling this whole time off camera with movement. I have not liked the movement at all. I have studied and studied the Red Blob Games grid stuff, and some of it, no matter what I do, I just cannot make it work. But I was able to get a single piece of it really working fantastic. And so what it's called, the calculation is actually called a flood fill. And what he does is, let me bring up the code and I can try to walk you through trying to make some sense of it. So hex reachable is it. Right here is where it starts. It's not an unusually big block of code, but what we're doing is we start out with a starting hex. The hex you want to move is the starting hex. I go ahead and pass a reference to the actual unit you're moving so I can calculate how many movement points you have left to go. And then we have a list, which is you're handing the code's handing this function an empty list of visited hexes. Okay, so these are all the hexes with this movement this unit can reach. And in addition to that, he's passing a handle to the game, the map. Okay, so now what we're doing is coming in here and we start off a hex. This is a hex definition is literally a row and a column and a terrain cost, okay? So we start off and we create our starting hex. Terrain cost is 0. That's how much it costs to get there. And then we create an element in the visited list. This is the visited list of it that's empty. And we add the starting cell to the visited list. So this is just preliminary work. So now what we have next is a definition called steps, and we're going to call it fringes. Now, fringes, let's see where I defined fringes. Yes, steps. Steps is designed. He has a movement cost, and this is each step that the person takes, the unit is taking away from his starting point, starting with his starting point. We're keeping track of what is the cumulative cost to get to the initial step right there. And then we have a list of the surrounding hexes that he can go to from that step. Okay, so if we were going to look at this on a grid, let's say, I think I can do this here. I've been out here battling forever. Okay, let me make sure that, okay, we're on the hex, right? That's the hex grid. Good. So if I came in here and said, I'm starting at this square, and now what we're doing, that's our start. So then I create a fringe, and the fringe is going to be a step to here. Oops, let's see. I got to get the right bucket here. To this guy here, 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 and here. And then I'm going to create another fringe. Okay. And then that fringe will start walking through each of, whoops, I didn't want to do that. Hold on, Control Z. I got to change my tool. So then we're going to walk through each of these 6 new hexes. And what we've done in the fringe is keep track of what did it cost to get here. Originally it's 0. So to get to this hex, we add, based on the unit infantry, artillery, whatever, we look up his cost in that cell. If it's wooded, it costs 2. If it's artillery, it may cost whatever. So then for the fringe that I'm creating here on this cell, it carries this cumulative cost plus his own personal cost, which at this point is just his cost. And then we're going to go get a new fringe. What does his fringe consist of? His fringe consists of this hex, and this hex. Well, this one's already there, that one's already there, and this one's already there. So the only 3 it can add is this guy. And we do it all over again. We take his total cost. Let's see, let's change gears. So we take his total cost, which was the step from here, plus his cost, and we now add this cost to it, and that's his source cost. We then take this guy's and add it to this guy's and to this guy's. So then we go the next tier. Well, if we're doing this in the roundabout manner that the program does, he then moves to this hex here. And then he'll come over here and say, okay, what are your surrounding hexes? Let me get the bucket. And the only ones he can add are these 2, because all the rest of his surrounding ones are taken. So we continue this all the way around until we have sufficed this guy's, and then that guy is next. I got to change controls here. And then we can go to green, let's say. And that's this guy's addition. And you can see how the math is working. And we're keeping track of the cost of each movement step. All right, so that's what this is doing. He's keeping track of, this is the initial setting of being at hex 0, where it originates. And then we walk through, we create a new fringe, and then we start spinning through the last one, and we pick up and go our directions, all 6 directions, and we then check to see if we've already been there. And if we've not been there, we go get our terrain cost, and then we track our cumulative terrain cost to get to this particular cell and say, do we have movement to get there or not? Okay, if we can, then we go ahead and add it in. We create a new layer, and then it starts looping back through. Now, you may think that this is going to take an awful long time, but oops, hold on. We're going to go do a demo on this right now. So here's our game. Yeah, well, it'll be here in a minute. And let's see. So we're going to fire up our game, and we'll start the server. And I don't need to see that. One of these days I'll turn it back off. And so we're going to take this unit. The minute I click him to move, I can now see every place with his movement we can go. If I go forward, he's got a movement of 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's it. If I go up this way, well, let's try the roundabout. So if I start with him, I can go 1, 2, 3, and 4 and get to either of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, I can get to him. Or I can go 1, 2, because that's woods, 3 and 4. Or I can go 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can see how it was doing its math to track every single cell that that player can move to. So when I set the hex down, this code isn't written yet, but when I set the hex down inside this periphery, then we will then move the unit and do all the update stuff. So that is how game movement's going to work in the game. So when you select in the movement phase a unit, it then does this, what's the phrase on that code? It's called a flood fill is the actual official mathematic function that we're performing. It's a flood fill. He iteratively steps through all 6 people that surround the original unit. Then he looks at each individual one of these for their surrounding hexes, and so on and so forth, all the way out until he's found the entire bounds that unit can step. Okay, so we've got unit movement licked. And another change that was forced into all of this, and it does make sense. The first time I actually got this working, I was actually still looking up the terrain costs by asking the server to look it up and send it back. But that real quick movement that you saw that this thing flood fills takes literally, what, a half second? Took about 4 seconds. And that was unacceptable. And when you think about it, there's no reason to burden the server with all of those questions that are it's being hit by, because the map doesn't change. So the map is literally a static part of the game. So so we can let the clients actually do their lookup. So the lookup routine really got shortened down. Trying to remember where I stuck it. I think I slid it down here with this guy here. So there's the flood fill. And let's see, yes, this is the terrain lookup. So getting the movement costs, we just get a row and column, and we need to know the element type and a hook to the game map. And then what I've done is I've loaded an array of rows and columns of the actual terrain graphics straight off of the export from the map maker. Okay, so then we can look that up, and then we spin the rules collection to find out for this element, what is his cost, what is the effect of the cost of a walking into this unit. So there you go. All it is an XY lookup, and it's instantaneous. So actually, I got this literally, I guess it's 5-10 minutes ago now, and I was like, man, I got to put this on video. I think y'all in the war game, watching the war game, can be as excited about this as I am. So I've figured out how that works, and I'm going to go ahead in the code on that function. Oh, what did I do? Oh, I hit join. Dadgummit. All right, that's okay. We can kill out of here. Bam, and then do it again. So we can, I'll comment that up a little bit better, but honestly, exactly what it's doing, what I was showing you out there in Paint. So yeah, here we go. Start the server, and now we can launch the game. Okay, so ready, go. Bam, less than a second, we get his entire perimeter of where he can move in his turn. Okay, so I just can't see that enough. That's really cool. That's exciting stuff for me. So I want to thank you all for watching, and I am going to move forward with this and continue doing videos on the war game now that I've made it past this one massive hurdle. And simultaneously, I'm also going to be releasing the next 4 videos or so, whatever it was, on the shmups, shoot 'em up guide. So now I can release movies and get some work done at the same time. So thank you all for watching, and we'll be back in touch soon.